All right, take two. Yeah, I know. I looked at this, thought about a few things, and then realized that I had missed something and needed to have a frame of reference for comparison. So I completely restarted everything. Anyways, obviously, I'm talking about the feast event, which has been something they've been doing every year. Granted, I think this is only the second year they've done it, but whatever. Anyways, so this is an item that gives you a active ability where you can throw a toxic canister at something to do AoE toxic damage and have a splash damage for a damage over time effect. This damage over time effect will also give the enemies a small run speed debuff. Okay, that sounds fine, honestly. Now, this isn't one of those things where I really think it's going to be amazingly good. However, as someone who loves comboing things with Graviton Spike, I can definitely see how you could combo this with Graviton Spike to force a bunch of enemies into a small area and then hit them with the toxic splash effect. Because the way this is phrased makes it sound like a wrist launcher and not like a grenade. So you activate Graviton Spike, tap an enemy with your weapon. Whoever gets pulled into the Graviton Spike then gets splashed with their toxic when you follow up. Uh, it's honestly a combo that I've done with the Cryonic Rocket from the winter event multiple times already. Kind of fun. Now, the point of comparison I was going to make is this thing. This is a kit from the Fleet Colony World. A Kintari themed weapon, which is a toxic dart launcher, which does kinetic damage, but it does a lot more toxic damage than kinetic damage. Now, this one really doesn't do as much damage as that one, and this one isn't even an AoE, it's just a single target ability. The only thing that makes the toxic dart launcher somewhat better is that it has a greater mobility penalty. One thing I noticed after carefully scrutinizing the stats on both of them is that the toxic dart launcher has less shield pen. Yeah, 50% shield penetration. This actually lists 80%. That is interesting to me because normally you only see 80% on melee attacks. This isn't a melee attack. And again, the previous thing that they did that was similar to this is only 50%. At any rate, though, is that it has a passive ability that seems to work much like the Kid Drone, except that, this doesn't activate the Macrovirus array to use the active power, so it doesn't have the passive Macrovirus summoned pet actually doing anything. So this is going to be interesting. I'm curious how that's actually going to work in practice, because this looks pretty overpowered. I say overpowered, but when I say overpowered, I mean like things that are like directly comparable, not as in I think it's one of the best things in the game. It just seems like it's a bit power creepy. Although, to be fair, the Macrovirus passive pet summon effect is probably not actually going to be all that good. If I was to guess, and well, let's see here. Let's look at the reward info, because this does give what is some of the information you would have in the extended tooltip. Not all of it, but at least some of it. Yeah, it fires a toxic canister from a wrist-mounted device, and you have a Macrovirus unit that follows you around to attack your enemies. That's not much. Let's see here. Gaining control over Macrovirus units obeys your command and spits at enemies with toxic sludge. Now, the fact that it says spits at enemies with toxic sludge is rather similar to the way that the bugs in the bluegill enemies will use for ranged attacks. They will spit toxic sludge at you, which does have a shield penetrating effect. It is kind of nasty like that. Anyway, though, now it sees enemies that are under 50% health, it will latch onto them and explode. Thing is, because this is a passive summon, I'm not sure it's actually going to die when it does this. It's probably just going to respawn, and it might have a short cooldown on it. It doesn't say in this tooltip what that is, though. Now, the toxic canister. That's what we looked at earlier. Instant and damage over time toxic damage to foes near the impact point while also slowing them. This phrasing makes it seem like the primary damage is also a splash effect, which would logically make sense, although it doesn't actually say that. I have actually noticed that with some grenades, it says deals damage to target. But when it says target, it really means everyone in a 3-meter radius. Yeah, anyway. So, there's not really a whole lot we know about this so far. And I'm highly curious how much actual damage the pet will be doing. And also, what the heck is this going to look like? Because of the fact that they didn't actually show us a picture of it yet, to my knowledge. Wait, maybe they did. You know what? I'm going to have to find that. Anyway, that's all I got for now. Definitely going to have to do a video testing this out later in about 2 weeks. See you later.